Today, let's talk about the basics, the fundamental things that are an integral part of conscious drawing. No need to put on serious faces. Approach these things not with seriousness, but with inspiration. Even if you skip the foundation at some point in your life, there will come a moment when you will want to come back, realizing how fascinating and yet simple it is. Let's compare it to something more earthly and understandable. A good example is the foundation of a house. If you have a quality foundation, you can build absolutely anything on it. The foundation guarantees quality and reliability. Conversely, no matter how well you choose the design of your bathroom or the color of the wallpaper, your house won't last long without a solid foundation. Even a golden toilet won't save you. By the way, psychological problems can arise from neglecting the basics, such as a lack of self-confidence or procrastination. Returning to the basics is a good option in such cases. A bad option is when an artist sticks to the same set of patterns they learned, and some even abandoned their hobby altogether. A good artist is versatile, a professional who can handle any task. When you have a solid foundation, the question becomes what to create, rather than how to create. It's a creative question, not a technical one. You've learned to speak visually. Now it's interesting to see what you'll say. Let's start with the basics. Let's try to be conscious about it, because much of an artist's learning is about awareness, not rote memorization or reading. We develop in the brain, honing it for artistic work, training aspects that are rarely needed in ordinary life. Many may have heard about the artist's unique way of seeing. It really exists. For instance, many people don't see color reflexes. Their brains simplify and omit this information, and it takes time to train the mind to perceive them. There are numerous examples. You've mastered a skill when the process no longer causes discomfort, blocks, or any other creative crisis or dissonances. This feeling can be compared to muscle memory. You won't immediately realize how it happened. It's not like a heavenly choir singing on divine intervention. No, one day after months of practice, you'll be surprised at your old self. A good analogy is with sports or Shaolin monks who hit water-filled pots or insert hands into vessels filled with sand or beans. They practice movements and strikes for a long time and consistently. Sometimes it may seem like a useless activity, but only when the student understands that they can now break through the chest does the meaning of all these actions become apparent. A good analogy is swimming or playing a musical instrument. When the body remembers, the fingers remember, and the thought process shifts to the unconscious, becoming less challenging. The brain is a lazy and inhibiting companion. It needs time to learn, and it's normal. This applies to all aspects, not just creativity.
Personal mentorship with a customized program is now open for enrollment with the instructor. Daily feedback and exercises tailored specifically to each student will help fill gaps in fundamental skills in digital painting. If you need assistance in developing your 2D skills, don't hesitate. Click the link and check out the details. So let's get started with exercises that will help you in the initial stages, drawing simple shapes on a flat surface: square, rectangle, circle, triangle. Draw them calmly without rushing, freehand, without relying on shortcuts like shift. Don't strive for perfection. It's better to focus on quantity. Dedicate a sufficient amount of time to this exercise. Do batches of 30 to 50 pieces, or at least 20 every day for a certain period. This exercise develops hand steadiness. Simple forms are a good way to get your hand used to drawing. Exercise is straightforward and familiar for the brain, which is crucial. It shouldn't be intimidating. The figures exist in a single plane for now. Imagine the X and Y axes. There is no imitation of 3D space at this point. Remember children's drawings. All objects stand on the same line. A child draws what they see, and their perception lacks depth. If we stop drawing at the age of 5, our drawing skills will freeze at that level, and our brain's drawing ability will be akin to that of a 5-year-old. Adults often draw in 2D space, in a flat dimension, and it's crucial to learn how to move beyond it. Try giving volume to your shapes. You can rotate a cube, a cone, a cylinder. Don't get bogged down in geometry, construction, or horizons. Constructive drawing is important, but not for now. Now let's set it aside. Live drawing is so dynamic and full that keeping up with geometric construction in real field conditions is unlikely. Yes, you might manage it with simple shapes, but with complex ones, you'll start crumbling and significantly slow down in speed. That's why it's crucial to develop your eye now, right here and right now. What basic drawing principles can you remember right away? When dealing with a cube, it's simple. Things that are closer to you look bigger. Keep an eye on this. It's a key rule for creating the illusion of space. To draw a 3D cube in the beginning, just make the backside smaller and make sure the parallel sides stay parallel. The lines won't be completely parallel since there is a vanishing point. But don't worry about that just yet. Building a pyramid and a cone follows a simple geometry principle, the kind we learned back in school. We draw the base, find the center, draw a line, that's the figure's axis, mark the vertex, and connect it to the base with straight lines. Pyramids, cones, and cylinders are drawn using this principle. Don't try to make everything super neat. Drawing, sketches, it's a lot of messy work. At this stage, it's important to develop spatial thinking rather than mastering super neat lines. Gradually, with regular practice, these exercises will lead you to a sense of volume and spatial awareness. Perspective comes into play as well. Thanks to simple principles and techniques, we can already demonstrate it. You need someone with a sober perspective, someone more experienced or skilled, who can look at your work from the outside and express a skeptical opinion without praise and worship. In other words, someone who can critique you. Perhaps a friend, spouse, a straightforward neighbor who speaks the unvarnished truth. It might hurt, and your inner artist may feel deeply offended, but it's an important experience. A healthy reaction is to get upset and start looking for mistakes. These people may not be into art and drawing, but their eyes are finely tuned to the real world, to how things should look, and they can spot flaws in a drawing if there are any. Again, if your goal is drawing on the table, a psychological discharge, then you don't need anyone else but a pencil and a sheet of paper. Just enjoy it. If growth is what you're after, that's a different story. You shouldn't fear criticism, but beware of admirers. These folks can truly lead you astray. The brain quickly believes in its divinity, uniqueness, and rushes to write to Blizzard, Bethesda, and Epic Games. Believe me, I've seen many like that, though they are light years away from AAA projects, much like reaching the moon. Listen to those around you, especially if they say something's not right. If they see it, everyone will see it. If you've noticed a flaw, everyone else will notice it too. The other side of the self-flagellation issue is to hold on to it. Don't succumb to hypercriticism. Even an experienced artist can go through different states from I'm a genius to I'm at rock bottom. Like bipolar disorder, it can happen, but the main thing is not to let it affect your productivity. If you're at the bottom right now, do the bare minimum. Something simple that doesn't stress the nervous system. Just don't give up. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. You can also find me on other social media. See you next time.